Hi, this is ESPN's Dave Lamont, and you're listening to the Sports Objective Podcast, the unofficial podcast of the Pirates.
Welcome into the Sports Objective as we're under the lights tonight. Appreciate you joining us here in prime time. Speaking of prime time, we love him. Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you, man?
Don't ever compare me to Deion Sanders again unless somehow I get Deion Sanders money. I hate Deion Sanders, prime time. But yeah, here we are, late at night, 10 o'clock, prime time, late night, 10 o'clock news edition of the Sports
Objective After Dark.
Forgive me, guys. I'm sick, so I might ramble a little tonight.
All right, with us right now from China Grove, the producer of the show, and he does it all behind the scenes. Bubba Rosenbaum, how are you, man?
Doing well, Dave. I hope you guys are. I did something today that I had not done in about I guess a little over 3.5 years, and I know Matt actually did.
And I'm glad Stacey finally did that for you.
I know Matt did a few days ago as well, and that's play golf.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Nice. Bubba, I want to hear what your score was. If you don't want to say it live, you'll have to tell me after.
No, I don't mind saying I shot a 87, which was pleasantly surprising. Not the most difficult of courses that I played, but still not having touched a club since November of 2018, I was very pleased and actually made a couple of birdies. And I had 2 or 3 holes that killed me on the front where I made a double and a triple bogey, not back to back, but like 2 out of 3 holes. But then the backside was easier, but I shot a 38 on the back. So 49-38.
Yeah, I can do a 87 on the front 9. So 87, on the front 9. So, or the back 9. I've always thought golf is a great sport, but and tennis are both great sports that I'm terrible, like really, really bad. Like tennis, there's a reason why there's big, the big fences, because I'm more of a baseball guy and I try to kill it and it goes over the fence. So,
right.
Yeah, and golf.
Matt, did you know Dave could hit a Division I player's fastball?
I did not know that.
I
didn't know that.
It's true. He claims he can.
No, I have not.
He claims it.
Well,
a Division I fastball? I've never claimed that.
Yes, you have. Ask Bubba.
So when I come down to visit, let's do this. All right, let's go to the batting cages. We'll crank it up to about probably goes up to about 85.
There you go.
And let's have fun with it.
Right.
Rosenbaum, tell Dave his quote. He forgot.
I don't remember exactly, but just I guess, was it during the 2021 season or?
No, it's further back than that.
Yeah, it's maybe it was prior to things getting shut down in 2020, but I know specifically Gavin Williams came up. Dave did not say that about Gavin, but he referenced, and I don't even know that he referenced a specific player. I don't think he did, but he was talking about hitting a 80 to 85 mile per hour pitch.
What I was talking about, the only thing I've ever talked about with that was the fact that I pinned the batting cages, which is not the same thing.
I don't backtrack, Dave. You said you could hit Gavin Williams. You said Gavin Williams was a chump and you'd knock it out of the ballpark. You hear that, Gavin?
Yeah, you're smoking something, obviously. But anyway.
Well, not tonight. But
I've never said I can't Gavin Williams. I was talking about how difficult. The only thing I've ever said is that you when you go to a batting cage, like 60, 65, you can easily do that. When he gets to 90, I'm lucky to be able to foul him off. I mean, like maybe 2 or 3 of those. But it's so fast They literally, you're doing like that. I've never said I could hit a Division I player's fastball. That came from. But anyway, great start to the show. Matt Semenza, we want to do the show tonight. A lot of loose ends. We want to give the chance for the fans to join in. We don't really have a guest tonight. We did that on purpose. Every once in a while, we like to do it like a roundtable where we talk about different topics. It gives more of a chance for the fans, Pirate fans, to join in with us and be a part of the show. So they're the guests tonight, if you will. And guys, I know the first thing we want to talk about is breaking news today with Team Boneyard, right, Bubba?
That's right, Dave.
Yeah, obviously, collectives being formed all around the country, and here at East Carolina, you've heard stuff. I know John Gilbert at the Pirate Armada back in mid-May down in Charlotte was talking about things that have been done behind the scenes, by East Carolina donors. And today we hear or see some statements being put out there by Vern Davenport, former head of the Board of Trustees, and then also Henry Hinton, as well as some other donors. And so if you guys, Dave, if you would like to read some of those quotes there on the screen, since I'm unable to at the moment since I'm in the car.
Well, if I can, there we go. Let's see. It says for Vern Davenport, college athletics is rapidly changing, and the creation of this collective on behalf of ECU athletics is critical to our continued competitiveness. The collective will provide a trusted, compliant marketplace for Pirate Nation to successfully engage with ECU student athletes. And that's one of the, again, Vern Davenport, former head of the trustees chair, if you will. We're excited to help ECU student athletes receive compensation through the Team Boneyard NIL. Very well deserved and overdue for our sports teams and individuals. This will help us remain competitive at our level. My family is specifically helping the women's lacrosse team. They are rising, ! Says Team Boneyard contributor Travis Burt. And then finally, if ECU is going to remain competitive, this is a necessary step based on the current landscape and today's college athletics environment. I hope our fans and alumni will contribute at any level they feel they can, said Team Boneyard contributor Henry Hinton. And he was actually the first radio owner that I ever worked for. So I appreciate him very much. And there you have it. So
you can contribute to the collective. You can join Team Boneyard. Is there a giving level? Can you contribute anything? How does all this work?
I know about it, Bubba. I don't know the intricate details. Do you?
We'll share the link. It's a link that I became aware of here probably, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But this information was just put out. At least it was just brought to my attention today. Give credit to Johnny Gardner sharing it with me. Like I said, I'd been, doing some errands and then also playing golf all afternoon. And he sent this to me, I guess, about 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was released today. 94.3 released it today on their Facebook page. I'd like to know more details of it. Where's that money going? Who's accountable for it? Is it being invested to draw interest? I mean, do you have to be a business? Can individuals join?
Individuals can.
Okay.
Yep.
I do. Like to know more details on it. And just want to point out, Team Boneyard, nothing to do with the Boneyard podcast.
By the way, if you have questions, comments, you can do so on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we have some that we'll do here in a minute. But go ahead, and if you have any questions or anything you want to add to the show, you can always.
And if anybody has any more details on that Team Boneyard that is watching live on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to post the information. You can provide us with information. You don't just have to ask questions. If you've already gone to the website and read over the information further, I would love to know more about it. I just haven't had time haven't taken the time to go look at the website.
Yeah, if you can shed any more light, that'd be great. Or, just whatever your thoughts are on the current landscape of college athletics. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
I'll tell you what my current thoughts are. I don't think we can try, and I don't think it's just us. There's a whole lot of the pool of teams that are going to compete at the highest level, unless somebody steps in and does something, is going to be very small. Dave, what the hell are you doing?
I was fixing my computer.
No, to your point, we're obviously not going to be able to do things that certain universities are going to be able to do, but at the same time, that if we're being honest, that's always been the case. So, you have to, put your best foot forward on whatever that is.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Something about it.
I don't think it's just going to be us. I think there's going to be some Power 5 schools in the same boat. I really believe that the model at the highest level of college football is going to resemble the NFL over the next 5 years, and it's probably going to be about the same number of teams that are in the NFL playing the highest level. I think you can have about 40 teams playing the highest level of college football in the near future.
There you go. We have 32 in the NFL. So,
yep.
Do you want to do some comments, Bubba? I know there are people who are chiming in already.
Yeah. Appreciate Mark Callaway, that is, and then Elliot Jameson, Sarah Sanders, a lot of folks chiming in already on Facebook and YouTube.
What I was talking about.
Wow.
And then,
What was that?
And then Dave interrupted me. I know. Let's see.
Mark says, "Good evening. Good evening, Undertaker."
Elliot bringing up, I guess, in 2013 and 2016, in both of those instances when the Pirates beat the Wolfpack, Dave Dorn said those days were the worst days of his life. And then obviously that truck was parked right there on 264 leaving town, right there along where the East Carolina University sign is. So, and then Johnny Gardner says these Bucks. Absolutely, Johnny.
These Bucks can sweep in the nation.
Yeah, how about?
That should have been a long day for Dave Doran because, obviously they come into Greenville, and that was the biggest win of the Scotty Moe era.
Yeah, their field goal kicker missed 4 field goals, right? That Dave, my memory.
Yeah, and Scott, and to be fair, or not to be fair, however I want to word this, what am I trying to say? I don't give Scotty Montgomery any credit for that win. I put that on Ruffin McNeil. Those players still had the mentality of the Ruffin McNeil staff. They still had conditioning from the previous. We got worse as the season went on. The less and less, the more Scotty Montgomery had influence, the worse we got. But yeah, it was the best win of the Scotty Montgomery era. But I still give Ruff credit for that win.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Ruff still had the influence on that team, and
yep.
That was definitely the high point. You look back at Scotty Moe's tenure here. That was probably the best day. Well, for sure, the best day he had. So,
I think my favorite win under Scotty.
Dorn.
I think my favorite win over Scotty Moe, Matt, was the win over UNC, just because it came after that damn A&T loss.
God,
That's a good point.
That was probably the lowest point of Pirate football in the history of Pirate football. Oh my God, that was god awful. Wow, I'm glad we don't have to worry about that anymore. And that's definitely
knock on wood.
Yeah.
We do play Campbell. Charleston Southern almost got us last year.
They sure did. Well, I'll tell you, fellas, whatever the line is in that game, just not to get off topic here, but looking ahead to the opener this year, everybody's talking about NC State, their potential top 10 team. They have this great quarterback. I get it. They're a very good team, but I fully expect to have a chance to win that game regardless. It's in Greenville. I think Mike Houston's got momentum going in our favor. It's year 4. We have an experienced quarterback, plenty of players back on defense, a solid O-line. That's going to be a very close game. I would personally, call me crazy, I would set the line right now at NC State -3. I think it's going to be very close.
It opened up at -8. I don't know what it is now. What scares me about NC State, Matt, isn't their quarterback. They got 10 starters back on defense. The defense is pretty good. And you played defense at East Carolina. sometimes you can have a highly projected offense and they can underperform or just have an off day. Most of the time when you have a good defense, you have a good defense. And so that's what scares me about the Wolfpack. Do I think we can win the game? Yeah. Do I think the line should be 3? No. I think 7 or 8 is probably about right. Phil still has them ranked 14th. I saw that today. I ain't got my Phil still yet. Officially released July 4th. Really the only preseason magazine that matters. He has them ranked 14th. BYU ranked 13th, by the way. He has us ranked 60, I believe. But honestly, being ranked 60 might sound bad, but there was only 3 teams in the American ranked above us.
Guess what?
Go ahead.
Well, in the Scotty Moe area, we were what, 129 or 130?
Yeah, well, I mean, based on his projections, he has us bowling. I think NC State's going to be a tough out. I think if it was, I think the problem is it's NC State. I think if it was West Virginia, for example, and they were preseason top 15, we would all be like, oh, well, if we can win, that'd be a heck of a win. But, you never, at this point, you don't go into any game expecting to lose. But my point is, can we beat NC State? Absolutely. But if we go lose that game by, let's say, 10 points, people need to keep things in perspective. This should be North Carolina State's best team since the probably going back to Chuck Amato when he had, what's his face, a quarterback?
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, Rivers. So
Chuck the Chest many years ago.
Clown shoes. I used to call them clown shoes.
Yeah, I think for me personally, the whole state thing, it's the first game of the year. I believe that stadium is going to have, I mean, if we don't have a sellout, I'll be really.
Oh, it'll be sold out.
I mean, you're going to have that place rocking. I think that people are going, that's going to be the best atmosphere we've had in 4 years, 5, easily, a long time. And so I think that's going to, if it was in Raleigh, I wouldn't be as confident that we have a chance to win. But just like you said, with the depth that we have now, I mean, they have now where with our team, everybody's talking about them, but I think that NC State has way more pressure on them. We're playing with house money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have way more pressure to put them as a top 10, top 15 team. And no disrespect to Doran or anything, but I could see them being a top 25 team. But to put them in the top 10, top 15, I think as Peanut Butter Hero put, UNC was a preseason top 10 team last year too.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to say all that. I'm going to say they are a preseason top 15 team, and they're great. And they're worthy of their ranking. And it's just like when you beat somebody and they're ranked like that. And Bubba's pointed this out many times, and I agree with him. One thing I've never quite understood, and Bubba can elaborate on this more. When you beat a top 10 or top 15 team and the crowd starts chanting, overrated, you're saying what we did meant nothing. Beating you meant nothing. So I'm not going to say they're overrated. I'm going to say that they deserve that ranking. And if we beat them, then that means we're just that damn good.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to say overrated. We beat State. I'm going to be very happy. If it's by 1 point or 50, I'll be happy. But the fact is,
good God, if we beat them by 50, Katie bar the door. Holy crap!
No, I don't expect that. So don't. I'm just saying if we beat them is by 1 point or however many, I'll be extremely happy, and I won't say overrated for sure. But I really feel like with the talent we have now, I think and obviously another thing that how do you guys feel about I think the wide receiver position will be a lot better than we thought, but what do you think we can run on that defense? Not to get too deep in the weeds, but that's my question for the whole game would be with our running back. Can we run?
We got an experienced offensive line. We brought some transfers in, like the kid from West Virginia, the kid from Norfolk State. So we've got some talent on that O-line, and we know we got at running back. I think I think their front seven, NC State's front seven, is really good. Yeah, we'll be able to run on them. That's going to be the key because their pass defense was salty last year. To me, I think wide receivers is going to be better than what we thought it was going to be when we heard Snead was leaving for the draft and CJ was suspended. We got CJ back. We got the kid from Toledo. who was, is a big-time receiver in the MAC. We got a few other kids. So I think at receiver will be fine. I think the key on offense for that game, really for the season, is going to be early season anyway. It's going to be the ability to run the ball and our tight ends in the passing game as we get a chance for some of these young receivers, or in the case like the dude from Toledo, kids that aren't used to playing in this offense, to get used to playing in this offense, get used to Holt Nailers, get used to the patterns, the schemes we run. While those receivers develop, we really need to be able to run the ball. And we have two very talented tight ends, more than two talented tight ends. We have multiple talented tight ends, and they need to be a key part of the passing game, particularly early in the season.
I think Josiah Hatfield is the one. That's the as far as wide receiver. I have, and maybe people, but he is our X factor at wide receiver.
I think the kid from Toledo is going to be.
No, I'm saying, but Hatfield is a kid that has a lot of speed. He has a lot of potential. Will he live up to it?
Yeah,
that's the question mark for me.
The same thing with the kid from Duke. And I'm horrible with names, guys. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening who's wondering why I'm just saying kid. I can't remember people's names.
Well, it's hard to keep up because we have so many new additions.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So many new.
Well, and honestly, Matt, it wouldn't matter. But the kid from Duke is also supposed to be really fast and be a good route runner. The problem is, I've heard with him, it's his hands. Hopefully, Donnie and the guys can. I don't know, Matt. You've been out there, Bubba. You've been out there. How do you coach that? How do you get a receiver's hands better?
Well, I'll jump in on that one. A lot of it comes down to confidence, and what I try to do is when I have a receiver who's struggling, I want to get him involved early in the game. I want to get him some nice, easy receptions, maybe on like just a very simple play, a wide receiver screen, something very simple just to get him into the game early, build the confidence, feed him the ball a little bit, and then expand his role from there. So much of it, though, comes down to confidence. A lot of these guys, they just need to get in the game and make a play, and then they're good to go. So that's what I would try to do in that situation, is just get them the rock early and, make it something simple.
Bubba, what do you do in practice if you see that from a receiver that he's got all the skills, but sometimes he just drops passes he should catch? How do you work on that in practice?
There are several different things you can do. One of the things that's done, at least by a lot of teams, and this is something not necessarily just in practice, but just in just that individual or individuals coming and getting work in. But, catching tennis balls, because obviously a much smaller object. So you really have to focus and really have to, use your hands instead of letting the ball get into your body. So that's something that you can do to make sure you're catching the football with your hands, as opposed to, kind of cradling it and allowing it to get into your body.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let me just jump back for 1 second to the question about can we run the ball? I think in this type of game, it doesn't have to be a situation where we run the ball for 250 yards and have, explosive plays in the running game. But I think it needs to be a situation where we run it well enough, where we put ourselves in manageable third down situations. Because if we wind up in situations where it's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12, and they can pin their ears back, we're in trouble. But if we can run the ball just well enough where we get ourselves in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, then it opens up everything. It opens up the play action with our tight ends. And I think the biggest thing I want to see more of this year, fellas, is I want to see more Holton Nailers running the football in short yardage situations, read option, boot action. That's what he is. Again, I've said this a million times.
He's been battling a nagging injury the last couple of years that really hasn't been made public.
So whatever it is, I hope that he's healthy, Kyle. And I hope that because we have Mason Garcia now, who's a year older and he's a little more experienced, we're willing to take some more chances with Holton in the running game, because I think that's what he is, man. I think if you kind of force him into being this pocket passer, you're not utilizing the full skill set.
I agree with you. He's at the Manning Passing Academy this week. I don't really know how much that actually helps someone. You got to figure working with Peyton and Eli, and I'm assuming Cutcliffe and a bunch of other guys can't hurt you. But Holton's at the Manning Patterson Academy, so good opportunity and honor for him to improve his game. Back to your point, Matt, I think we're going to be able to run the ball on anybody. I like our running backs. I like our O-line. I think the key to NC State, in particular, because it's early in the year, and being able to successfully really establish – if we can't get anything going in the passing game with so many new pieces at receiver, then they're going to just stack the box against our running backs and against Holton running it. So to me, again, the tight ends are going to be key in that first game while some of these receivers learning their new roles.
Totally agree with you there, Kyle. Totally agree. Dave, you're muted.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about Holton, right, Bubba?
Yeah, Elliot Jamison chimed in a few minutes ago, and I knew we were going to transition to that topic, so appreciate the question, Elliot, and that's the reason we're not answering it right away. But he said, how do y'all think Holton will do as a quarterback this year? We're talking about, an even more improved running game. The running game was obviously significantly improved last year. That should only improve even more this year with the offensive lines improvement and more depth. And then, you saw that picture recently that Coach Houston tweeted of the offensive line. So you see the strides that they're making there strength-wise and just transforming their bodies. So I think when you factor in an improved offensive line and improved running game, Holton improving his body and, doing things that are, going to improve his ability to be more efficient, more accurate, be it his footwork or just tighten up his throwing motion like Coach Houston mentioned he had done in the spring. I think all that points to Holton hopefully completing a higher percentage, 65+% maybe, and then having a better touchdown to interception ratio. I think it was 18-10 a season ago.
Yeah, I expect that to improve. I think a lot of it too, maturity. Holton's a really old guy now in terms of college football, and he's been in a lot of situations. He's won some close games now, and a Marshall since Memphis, Navy. He's been in situations that were close where now he's succeeded at this level, and I think that'll only help him get better. I think not having Snead, he's used him as such a primary target for so long. I think that's really the only downside to this offense is not having Snead. I think Holton will have his best year he's had as a Pirate.
Yeah.
And I heard very quickly, Dave, I heard someone, I'm trying to remember who it was, talking about that very thing here in the last day or two. Actually, it's Pete Medhurst. Pete Medhurst, he was actually on Pirate Radio, and we'll be having Pete Medhurst as well as a lot of other color analysts and play-by-play voices on throughout the summer, taking a look at the 2022 schedule. But Pete was just saying how efficient Holton was in that game at Navy. And, they are late in the game when Navy ripped off, that 90-plus yard run. And then we, failed to convert a fourth down and like the 4th and goal situation at the 2 or 3 yard line. Holton and the guys just responded and did what they needed to do to win the football game. You think about the long pass to Snead on the post route there, and then the 4th and 1 play for the touchdown.
How about the 2-point conversion to C.J. Johnson?
Yeah. Because he was looking right and then came back to the left.
Yep, huge play. And C.J. made a good catch on that play too. Give C.J. a little love there. Maybe that's somebody else. You'd love to see C.J. develop and take that next step that he really hasn't taken from the freshman season. We've seen it in flashes, but love to see C.J. Be the receiver that everybody thought he could be when we saw him back in 19 for the first time.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of what we talked about in the past is the fact that he's got to find a way mentally. His game is the problem with him is that you can rattle him by grabbing his jersey, getting him out of his game, out of his element. He's going to complain, and that's the scouting report on him. Just grab his jersey, hold him the whole time, and then he's going to literally, make some bad decisions. That's what he's been doing, So hopefully,
would you guys? Don't mean to cut you off, Dave, and I know Hatfield may be in this position, but I'd like to see CJ kind of moved into the inside more instead of just lining them up outside. I think, I think they got a little too predictable with CJ, and we saw a little bit of it last year. I'd like to see more of it this year.
It's fun. It's funny you bring that up, Kyle. Actually, that was a topic on Hoist the Colors earlier today, and I guess yesterday with the VIP thread and so forth. Just talking about how somebody asked the question, "Hey, how's CJ doing since being reinstated?" And Stephen Igo said, "Hey, he's being used in the slot. You have Isaiah Winstead, Jared Garner, and Tajee Hudson, et cetera, on the outside, and so you think about those 3 or 4 guys I just named. Then you have C.J. Johnson in the slot, and then you have Ryan Jones in the slot opposite him, or obviously Shane Calhoun, who's very productive there as well. So we're going to have the potential to be tough to defend.
CJ in the slot, if he can do it right, I like that idea a lot. It's different than Snead, but athletic body over the middle, that could be nice. Winstead is the kid from Toledo that I constantly refer to as the kid from Toledo. So, he should be a big time player for us this year. He was a great receiver in the MAC, and looking forward to watching him.
Yeah, and one time, Matt, I was going to pose this to you. For me, I think the offense is going to be fine. I think the biggest surprise, not a surprise anymore, but I think that our defense, it was bad for so long. But I think our defense with our depth, experience, we can look at, like we were talking about, you could add add some more pieces at linebacker, but for the most part, the defensive side of the ball is going to be, is probably the difference whether we win, 7, 8 games, 9 games. We could even have more. I don't think we're going to get that to that 9 mark, but the defense owner, I'm looking forward to that being big. And most of the time over the last few years, it was kind of like I'm holding my breath, pray they don't beat, let us down. And now I'm starting to get more confidence again in the defense. How about you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. When I look at our defense, the first thing that jumps out to me is you look at our defensive line, and we have as much depth on a D line as we've had in years, fellas. Yep. And, you have 6 or 7 guys now just on the interior that you can rotate. And, especially you look early September and that heat, that's huge because you get to the fourth quarter and you're still fresh. You think about Mike Houston's first year, we had, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had 2 defensive linemen over 275 pounds.
Wow.
2. And those guys had to play 70 snaps a game.
Jalen Price was one of them.
Thank you. And I can't remember the other guy's name for the life of me, but he was from Texas. I remember that.
Alex Turner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Played forever.
Who's now in med school.
Yeah. Those guys were playing. They played 95% of the snaps that year. So you think about the depth we have this year. I really like it. I think that you have players that are more comfortable in the scheme now that they're more experienced. And you look at this defense, Blake Harrell. He's got every blitz package in the book. He throws a lot at you creatively. As a player, you have to be comfortable in that scheme, and you have to, you have to know, every detail. So I think we're going to have guys more comfortable. I like what I see on the back end. I think, like you said, Dave, my one concern would be depth at middle linebacker if we get dinged up there. But I feel really good about it. There's no reason why we can't be a very competitive defense again.
We addressed some of those linebacker needs with the transfer portal. We had the kid from Georgia Southern who started as a freshman down there last year. He's here. And then we had a Big South, an all Big South, the best linebacker from Kennesaw State, where Blake Harrell came from. transferred here after spring practice. So you kind of wonder how that happened. But we addressed some of that depth with those two kids who I think, you look at the kid from Georgia Southern. I don't know what happened down there. They had a coaching staff change, and for whatever reason, he didn't mesh with the new coaching staff after spring ball. But he was good as a freshman. And then, like I said, you got a Big South All-American, the best linebacker at Kennesaw, who played for Blake, transferring here. So that should help with that linebacker depth. One thing we got to get better at on defense, and you mentioned all those blitz packages, Matt, is high risk, high reward. But we gave up a lot of explosion plays last year. Defense was much improved, but we got to figure out how to get better at not giving up as many explosion plays. Besides that, I think the defense should be really, really good.
Matt, recently on 94.3 The Game, and obviously on 103.7, your coach, former football coach for East Carolina, Steve Logan, had a lot of nice things to say about Coach Houston. He feels like that it's kind of like you guys now. We're at a point now when he was talking about East Carolina where basically what it comes down to, and I agree with this, there's a lot of, we've been saying that starting last year, a lot of 50-50 games. They could go either way. And you look at it where that basically what it comes down to, and help me out with this, Matt, because you played for him, but basically you want to win on the last play of the game. You know how Logan went to and basically it's going to be I think there's so many, and we'll steal Bubba's line, so many fourth quarter games on the schedule. So it's one of those things where we're talking about defense, but I really, we're going to believe, in other words, we're going to be in every single game. I don't think we're going to be blown out in a single game, which we've come a long way from the Mo era there, and maybe the first year of Houston. But look at how far we've come, and now we're back at knocking at that door where we're probably going to finish third in the league, is my prediction for the American.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that Coach Logan had positive things to say about Mike Houston, because Coach Logan, he's not the type of guy to easily throw around compliments like that. So, I think that says a lot, that he has positive things to say, because let's face it, Mike Houston has done a tremendous job here. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. You look at the depth he's created. This program was dead in the water 4 years ago, and not to go back and rehash all that, but he's improved the program every year he's been here.
Yep.
And here we are, all of a sudden, we're in year 4, and I expect that trajectory to continue. And the one thing I'll say that I really like there's two things about Mike Houston I really like. He is committed to run the football more than just about any coach I've ever seen. Even when it's not working, he's saying to you, listen, this is our scheme. This is what we're going to do. We're going to run the football, and he'll stick to his guns no matter what. I like that, and I like how he builds in the trenches. He builds his program from the inside out, and just going back and look at this depth on the O line and D line now. I mean, he's done a great job. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, go ahead, Bubba.
And especially when you have a guy like Keaton Mitchell, it might be 3 yards, and then all of a sudden it's 73 yards.
Yeah, Keaton. I'd like to see Keaton, and we saw it a little bit last year. App State game comes to mind. I'd like to see us get Keaton involved a little bit more in the passing game, bubble screens, etc.
All the above with that guy. He's lightning fast, and you're talking about the when you look at the O line, when you're talking about the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. And guys, we haven't really talked about, but in the quarterback room, we are loaded at quarterback, loaded. So not only Holton's experience, you got Mason, but a lot of those guys there that
I don't know about loaded, Dave. We haven't. None of those guys were proven, but there's some talent.
But there's a talent. But the talent is there. But before we had, you look at 2015, we would have been bowling if we had a Division I quarterback other than Ben Kurt.
We'd have been bowling. 2015. We didn't have Ben Kurt in 2015.
I know we didn't. I'm saying
if we'd have had Ben Kurt.
I'm saying we didn't have anybody besides.
Yeah, well, we'd have been bowling in 2015 if people would have just left Ruffin. Whoever's decision it was to rotate Summers and what's that little kid's name? Blake. What was his damn name?
Kemp.
What? Blake Kemp.
Yeah, if people would have just left the staff alone and quit saying play Summers more, and just they'd have just kept starting Kemp and bringing Summers in off the bench, I really believe we'd have made it a bowl. People got over that James Summers bandwagon. I remember it was one game that we had lost or won or something, and calling into the call-in show, and I remember even Copper.
Are you talking about the SMU game when?
Oh yeah.
No.
I knew we talked about that game recently, Kyle, and because Blake Kemp had not performed well in that one, and then Summers came in and did lead us back to the big win.
Yes, no, it was a different game. It may have been the BYU game. I don't remember, but yes, obviously that was a good performance by Summers. But they kept questioning why Summers wasn't playing more, and it's like, guys, it's obvious he can't make his reads. What we're doing with him is simple, and if you put him out there and start, it's going to simplify the offense too much. And
didn't Blake Kemp win 4 games for us that year? If my memory serves.
He did. And if they'd just left it alone, let Kemp start, kept bringing in Summers off the bench, we'd have went to a bowl. And we should have anyway. That Cincinnati game was a freaking disaster. But
yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. We're rehashing old stuff now. What's the point? But nonetheless.
Yeah, just the fact I was just talking about the quarterback. This is the best we've had in a long time as far as talent, and it's well, you're going back to depth. We're there, Bubba. I know recruiting is big. I know you wanted to talk about football recruiting for ECU.
Yeah, we're talking about bringing in talent. I'm trying to remember who it was. Somebody chimed in. Elliot. Elliot read our minds, knowing we're going to, talk about how Mike Houston and staff have been getting so many commitments over the last, 3-4 days. We have 10 commitments now, and pretty much all of those have been within the last week or so. And 6 of those 10 commitments are from the state of Georgia, as Elliot pointed out.
Terry Gallagher working his magic.
And the reason I wanted to transition to that now, Dave, is because we've been talking about Blake Harrell, and then you also had Chris Foster, who came up from Georgia Southern, which I believe Kyle mentioned. So those 2 guys have strong ties to the state of Georgia, and you also have Coach Shank, Steve Shankweiler, who has strong ties to the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
no doubt. He's been recruiting Georgia since I think he's been a football coach since '76. So he's been recruiting for a long time, but especially I think that's one of his states that he's been recruiting.
Speaking of recruits, does anybody have any more information on the kid from South Carolina that came here for the second summer workout session, watched one workout, and then left in the middle of the night?
I do not. We did have him on back in December for Crew 22 when we had probably 10 to 15 players on that one show. And you're referring to Jamarion Franklin. But no, a very unusual situation where he watched one workout and then decided to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. There's several speculations about what it is. Somebody said there was maybe something going on with Missouri. I don't think so. I know that they were talking to him late. Was he going to go there as a preferred walk on? I mean, you don't come to practice. I don't know. To me, and maybe I'm wrong, to me, leaving in the middle of the night like that after being here one day screams personal issues. And I'm on God on a limb without knowing anything to say and say girlfriend.
It could be. I mean, it's really strange because most of the kids, Matt and Bubba, I mean, would you say that it's I don't think that a kid would be that overwhelmed about moving up from high school to college. I mean, I know there's a huge adjustment, but in other words, you would, as much as you love football, you wouldn't go, oh my God, these guys are killing me.
Has he entered the transfer portal? I mean, he's going to have to sit out a year now unless he goes FCS because of the point of the season.
I haven't
posted something. He did post something. I think it was on Twitter that he was going to enter the transfer portal. So the whole situation was really odd. And, you never know what's going on.
Maybe he didn't like the strength coach.
Yeah. I mean, it's very odd though. After one day,
has that happened for, I know players leaving, but one day, Bubba, I mean, as far as ECU, I can't remember a player just coming one day.
I'm telling you guys, to me, this screams his heart wasn't in it before he got here. And to me, that screams an issue back home. And I say girlfriend. I still say girlfriend. My prediction is he'll transfer to what city is he from in South Carolina? My prediction is he'll transfer to an FCS down in South Carolina and be close to home.
Yeah, and I can't imagine who would really. That's major red flag territory for me. I mean, it's not like he's 16; he's 19 years old. He's he's an adult, and so for me, that's major red flag territory. I mean, hopefully, whatever it is for him, I hope it all works out in the end. But it's a very bizarre situation, and I always look at everything from the perspective of East Carolina comes number one for me. And, the coaching staff invested a lot of time and energy into recruiting him. So, it's just a really unfortunate situation.
And there you have that tweet that Matt referenced. I just want to thank East Carolina University for taking a chance on me and all the people who believed in me. But I just feel like this decision is best for me and my family, and I have to do what's right for me. So with that being said, I will be entering the transfer portal.
Yes, that's me.
And he is from Lake City, South Carolina.
Me and my family, I have to do what's best for me. To me, that screams personal issue, which to me screams girl.
I wish they would have decided that a few months ago, but hey,
yeah,
here we are.
Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think I'm off there on assuming that, or do you guys
it very well could be right, but whatever the case, I hope that is not the case. I hope it's not a girl.
Maybe it's true love, Bubba. Maybe it's true love, and they're meant to be.
But I hope
to be.
I hope that whatever it is, that it works out well for Jamarion, and that he'll get another opportunity somewhere else if that's what he wants to do.
Do you also think, guys, another thing is the only thing football-wise that would come to mind, but it goes back to one day. Do you guys think that maybe he comes here and, thinking these kids today have unrealistic expectations to play day one when they don't understand how hard it is to play at that level?
If it was anything, Dave, and I don't mean to cut you off. I think if it was anything to what he saw workouts, I think it was probably he didn't like the strength coach or something like that. I personally think it's a personal issue. I really do not think I think it won't in his heart to be here when he got here. And I could be wrong. I just know personal situations in the past. We've all done it. We've all been somewhere that we felt like we were obligated to go, and our hearts just want to be in there, and you get out of there as fast as you can. And I think that's the situation with him. And I could be wrong, but that's my guess.
But continuing to take a look at this recruiting class, and this information on the screen is from 24/7 Sports and Hoist the Colors. Stephen Igo obviously does a tremendous job covering recruiting, but you take a look at these commitments that we're getting for 2023. You do have the interior offensive lineman Bryce Weaver from D.H. Conley, projected to either be a center or a guard. But you have it's clear the emphasis on building that depth, as we've been discussing, on both lines of scrimmage. And then you also have at least 2, maybe 3 linebackers already, and then a couple pieces in the secondary.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, the one that jumps out to me right away is, and a lot of guys jump out, but Kieran Davis, when I look at him, 6'2", 240 as an edge rusher, he comes to you essentially, ready-made for Division I football. He's not a guy that, so often you see at East Carolina, we'll get the guy who's 6'3", 6'4", but he comes to us at, 205 pounds. And
Right.
he needs 2 years to build his body up to a point where he's 240. I mean, this is a guy that comes to us, at a ready-to-go weight. So, that just jumped out at me immediately.
And he actually was one of the commits today for us. That's just mind-boggling to think about. That is having these kids. Is it a case guys now bigger, faster, stronger? These guys playing 7-on-7. They're working out more, taking better care of their bodies.
I think part of it's that. I also think part of it is we're doing a good job recruiting, and then I also think part of it is you got some guys coming out of high school now that wouldn't be coming here that would probably be going to Power 5 schools if it wasn't for COVID and the transfer portal.
And Dave, very quickly, a guy I wanted to call attention to, Dwight Johnson Jr.
Okay.
He's a 5A Player of the Year in the state of Georgia. So yeah, he's only 6 feet, but I don't care. And there have been plenty of guys that have been stud linebackers at that height. So I think that's a huge get. If you're the 5A state defensive player of the year in Georgia, that's saying something.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Kyle, you're right. I tell you what, you want to change this program. We're talking about depth, but you also have to get the Jimmy and Joe. And the other thing is I think a lot of times guys with these, no offense because we love Steve and Igo, but a lot of these magazines or websites will have like 5-star, this star, that star. And the reality, what is it you always say, Kyle, is when these guys don't pan out, they were just a really good high school player. Well,
a lot of kids are 5-star high school football players, and then by the time they're seniors, they're still 5-star high school football players because they don't develop. I mean, that happens a lot. And you got to develop the kids. Sometimes you peak in high school, and sometimes in East Carolina, we have to develop talent, and we've had to develop talent over the years. And you got guys that were not as highly recruited here. You look at any time we've beaten North Carolina, you look at the recruiting classes where they were ranked versus where North Carolina's were ranked. And there's times we spanked them. And on paper, based on where those recruits were coming out of high school, we shouldn't even been in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
No question about it.
And very quickly, Dave, Johnny Gardner reached out to me with this information. I did confirm this with Jamarion Franklin on his Twitter account. He released this yesterday, and he is headed to South Carolina State, the FCS ranks, to play for the Bulldogs.
Guess who won the pony? Guess who won the pony?
Interesting situation. Back to the recruiting, guys. Don't you just get the feeling, guys? I'll just throw this out to all of you, but something feels different right now to me. It feels like there's something happening with this. Maybe the staff here, year 4, we've got some new additions. It feels like they're hitting their stride. It seems like they had very specific guys that they targeted in a relatively small class where we're going to bring in maybe 12, 13 kids. Doesn't it just seem though that they're hitting their stride and they're bringing in guys at a faster rate than they have before?
Well, they've got the reputation, we got the depth, but also, guys, COVID has actually helped us, and the reason why it's helped us is because
it ain't helping me.
Well, anyway, as far as the program is concerned, they are really, what I've heard from the program is, and it makes sense, is that they don't have that desperation anymore. Like we were talking about, Matt, where the D line was depleted and we didn't have the depth. We had good players on first string, but that was it. And a lot of rooms, if you will. And now with COVID, a lot of those players had to stay longer. You've got a lot of different factors since Houston's been here, like with the transfer portal. You got with the grad transfer issue, like all that stuff where all of a sudden now we don't have to worry about the whole entire room for the D line like we did a few years ago. Now it's like, okay, I'm going after Bubba Rosenbaum and I'm going after Matt Semenza. It's like a handful of guys where before they were like, throw up like a dartboard and we're praying to God we get this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. I don't know.
More targeted recruiting.
Yeah.
No, and to your point about the transfer portal, I think, by the way, grad transfer seemed like that was such a big deal a few years ago. Now it doesn't even matter with the transfer portal. But so far, the transfer portal has benefited us. It hadn't hurt us yet. Snead didn't go to the transfer portal; he went to the league. The cornerback, what's his damn name? It was so good that I think it stayed one more year, would have got drafted.
Jaquan McMillan.
Yeah. Stay one more year.
He's with the Denver Broncos.
Yes, but he didn't get drafted. He signed
Right.
a free agent contract. I think he got some poor advice. I think he got drafted if he stayed one more year.
Well,
But
Coach Houston, to his credit, he was very public. In an interview he did a month or two back, saying that he's obviously pulling for Tyler and Jaquan, but then at the same time that all he could do was communicate to them the information and the feedback that he had gotten from scouts, and he did that. He didn't think it was the right move, but once they made the decision to go, that he fully supported them.
Snead's decision had nothing to do with Snead was going to be what he was going to be. He's not going to get any bigger. He's not going to be any taller. If he makes the NFL roster, it's going to be because of effort. Snead hated school. That's why he left East Carolina. I don't know if I'm sharing stuff that ain't supposed to be public, but he hated college. He got his degree, and he's ready to get the hell out of here. Again, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn saying that, but I was told that by a very reliable source. So
There you go.
Snead wasn't going to get drafted next year, just like he wasn't going to get drafted this year. Snead is friggin' awesome, but he doesn't have an NFL body. But McMillan, on the other hand, had he stayed one more year, he'd have gotten drafted. That was a dumb decision on his part. And whoever was in his ear, I hope it works out for him, and he makes a roster as a free agent. It doesn't happen very often. It seems like they're the first guys to get cut. You really got to show out to make the roster as a free agent. I really believe if he'd have stayed one more year, he'd got drafted next year.
Yeah, he's by far the biggest loss on our defense, and he's going to be tough to replace. And speaking of working the transfer portal, that bringing in the corner from Buffalo was a huge
forgot about him, Matt. Thank you for bringing him up.
Yeah, I mean that's one that you're going to point back to maybe in the middle of the season next year and say this was a big pickup, because we're a little thin at corner. We've had some other guys leave the program here or be asked to leave. You never know for sure, but I think that's a big pickup, and it was a late addition too. Was he in for spring ball, guys? Did he participate in spring ball?
I don't believe so, Matt. He started for Buffalo last year, correct? He was starting corner for Buffalo the last 2 years, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he's here now. All the transfers are here now. But no, I do not believe he was here for spring ball.
And guys, we also wanted to talk about tonight, if there are people wondering, we are going to talk some baseball coming up, but we have a couple more topics. Let's get your over-under. Okay, you want to do that? Shell is asking, what is the latest update on the indoor facility that was announced?
There is none.
Yeah, as of earlier today, I checked ECUPirateClub.com to see if the quote giving thermometer had been updated, and it has not been updated. So hopefully that will be updated soon, because I know Cliff Godwin has said in multiple interviews that $3.25 million has been verbally pledged. So, I mean, we can have one for what has been pledged and what is actually being collected. And so, I mean, if whatever we've raised, we need to be communicating that to Pirate Nation, because that creates excitement and momentum.
Yeah, either up. Let me say it. Let me put it like this, Bubba. If you're being nice about it, update the damn giving thermometer. Take it off the website. It's so stupid to have something up there and then not utilize it. Why is it up there if you're not going to update it? We have no idea what we've raised, yet this giving thermometer is up there. It's supposed to tell us how much money that the Pirate Club has raised for our new fundraising effort, and we don't have and they're not updating the damn thing. So therefore, I'm led to believe we haven't raised any money at all until it's updated. I mean, why is it up there? Why is it up there? My mic is popping, according to Dave. You could have just told me on the air. Well, I'm sorry, it's popping. I can't do anything about it, really. You mean to mute myself?
Kyle, you make a great point, though, honestly. I mean, what is the point of having that? It just looks amateur. If you're going to do it right.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing
either
is,
update it or take it off the damn website.
and here's another thing, guys, is that we've been preaching about for the entire length of the show that we needed a master plan. We needed the capital campaign, right? We finally get our wish. And the reason, well, this is what I was told. I was told the reason why they waited so long, which makes sense. You want to make sure you already have a bunch of money collected, right? Well, if that's the case, if you really waited that long, we were told that they had raised like $15 million for somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know if that was true, for the indoor practice facility. If that's the case, why wouldn't you go ahead and, like, from the get-go, from the jump, you go ahead and put $15 million up there? You know what I mean? Like, that's why supposedly you waited. If not, then you're not doing your job if you've waited 3 or 4 years to announce the capital campaign that should have been done in 2018. You got here in December of 2018. The 4 guys on this show could go in a boardroom and come up with do a walk around of the campus and find our needs, talk to all the coaches, talk to the donors, and go ahead to the Pirate Club. But instead, we've waited all this time. And the reason we were told that it was such a delay is that they had a lot of donors who they wanted to make sure which is smart. And it looks like now they really didn't have either two things. They either have not updated, which is amateurish, or they really haven't raised the money they said they've raised.
Well, let's hope that's not the case. I think it's just they haven't updated it. And I do think I got nothing tough on Gilbert and Ryan Robinson and everybody else has anything to do with the athletic department, really, honestly, because it's my nature. But to be fair, 2020 and COVID happened, and that probably put us slowed some things down. And we were still trying to pay off that stupid ass press box that was way overdone. So I think that probably has a lot to do with the slow start to the capital campaign beginning. But now that it's begun, you need to update us regularly. And again, as far as the giving thermometer goes, either take it off the Pirate Club website or update it.
Hey, Matt, I got breaking news. Kyle actually has one of those luge boxes coming in 2022.
You mean a luge box?
Is it luge?
Yeah, luge is a sport in the Olympics.
Is it Loja? I think it's Loja.
No,
is it Loja?
It's Loge. It's Loge.
Loge. Okay.
The hell is
but I would like to see Kyle on a luge.
Yeah, I'd rather be in a luge than a Loge. That sounds fun. Going down the ice real fast, that'd be a blast. But no, a luge box ain't for me, baby. I'd rather do that than sit up in a press box any day.
What, the luge?
The Loge or the luge, either one.
Loge, sorry.
The luge box, and I also like the luge. I got to be an Olympic luger, sliding down the ice. It'd be a lot of fun. It's always been one of my favorite Olympic sports to watch. It's fun to watch, very fast.
Hey, Sarah says that she has a suite the Sports Objective can have. Sarah, where is it? Give it to Kyle. Then I guarantee you right now, Matt, I guarantee you this.
1 moment.
If
Sarah
Kyle
said 1 moment.
Yeah. If Kyle got one of those boxes, he would be up there every night. He would be
every
up there
night.
Every
no,
game.
Wouldn't. No, I guarantee you're wrong. And I'll tell you who would be, especially when it's hot, my lovely wife. Because let me tell you something about Miss Jessica. If it's above 80 degrees, she's a delicate flower, and she always complains about how hot it is and whines the whole game. And if it's below 60 degrees, she whines about how cold it is the whole game. So she'd be in the box.
There you go. 4th level next to the AD suite.
No.
Hey, baby, you want to go up to the Loge box?
Yeah, you want to go up to the Loge box and shut the hell up complaining about the weather.
Sarah, can we have that? So seriously, Sarah, I want Kyle to go up there. Can he go up there with you, Sarah, to the
What's Sarah look like?
I'm not getting into that. Sarah's a new fan. I'm glad to have you on tonight with us, Sarah, but I'm not starting that. But certainly, I want Kyle to see that it's a nice atmosphere.
Dave, look, I get it. Okay, I get.
Come on.
We get press passes. I can go up to the press box. It just ain't me. Bubba feels the same way. You want to be out there amongst it. You want to be amongst the people. I could be a multimillionaire, and I'd still want to be out there in the middle of it, baby. In the middle of it, with the purple and gold cheers, with the loudness, down there at field level where you can feel it, not up in some stuffy box with it just ain't me.
It's very nice up there, I will tell you.
Well, I'm sure it's very nice. It ain't for me. I mean, it's football. It's a football game, Dave. It's not a ballet.
There you go. Colin LaGrange, me, Sarah from Goldsboro. There you go, baby.
Hey, what's up, girl? You're over in Goldsboro, just around the corner there. How's it going? Go to Goldsboro all the time. I'm the legendary Kyle from LaGrange. My wife's going to throw something in a minute, but so Sarah's in Goldsboro. That's cool. Glad to have another Wayne. I'm on the Lenore Wayne Greene County line. Literally, I sit on all three lines. So it's a fun fact for everybody listening.
Yeah, no doubt. But that, I tell you what, I'm definitely excited about the season. Over under how many wins? That's our next topic. We're going to get to baseball soon. I promise, Sarah. Baseball coming soon. That's on deck, if you will. But for football, over under wins, I'm going to start with Matt. I'm going to put him on the spot first.
Well, first of all, it's the over under by
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
Bubba, do we have the schedule here in front of us?
Give me just one moment, and I'll upload it.
Notre Dame.
I got it right here.
I could probably
NC
do
State,
it.
BYU.
I got it right here, guys.
So,
there it is.
So Vegas has us at 6.5.
That's the over under 6.5. Yep.
Okay. So I know we did this so I'm going to do this in about 10 seconds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm definitely going over for sure.
Yep.
And, unlike some of these magazines that really don't go out on a limb very much, I'm going to put us at 8 wins. I feel very good about this team. I feel good about the way the schedule sets up.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over, but not 8. I'm gonna say 7, but I'm gonna go over. I look at so many of these games. NC State likely loss. ODU likely win, but don't take them for granted. They're coming off of a bowl game, won 5 in a row to get to that bowl. Campbell's a good FCS school. You should beat them easily. Navy still in rebuild mode, but it's Navy. We struggle with them, but you should win it at home, though we've never beaten them in Greenville. The 2 games that I don't like South Florida and Tulane back-to-back on the road. Both teams are going to be improved after 4 straight home games. I think one of those 2 will get us. I like us at home against Memphis. UCF, to me, is a toss-up. I think BYU clearly has the advantage in Provo. Cincinnati, probably still too. I don't know that. Alexa doesn't know what to think. Cincinnati probably still too talented, but who knows? They graduated a lot. A lot of people are big on Houston this year. I wasn't impressed with Houston last year. We get them in Greenville this year. That would not surprise me. That's senior day. Would not surprise me if we beat the Cougs. Then you close it at Temple, and that should be a game we win. So I'll go 7-5, and it wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me if we won 8. It also wouldn't shock me if we won 6. But I'll take the over and go 7-5.
Bubba,
I won't go through it in that much detail. I'll just say I'll take the over. A couple things to keep in mind. I know that Cincinnati game's on the road, but they will be breaking in a new quarterback. But at that point, it is November, so not as much of an issue as if it would be if we were playing them early in the conference season, perhaps. But also of note, as far as Campbell is concerned, they had either the first or second class nationally in the FCS ranks, which is pretty remarkable.
Wow, that is good stuff, and you never can underestimate with us with FCS programs. But I'm definitely going 8-4. I've said that from the jump. I really like this team, and I tell you what, I'm not even putting NC State in the win column, and I'm still putting it 8 wins. But my God, if we can somehow, I will say this, guys, if we could somehow beat NC State with that schedule, we might have a special season. But I'm going 8-4.
If we're going to win 8, we need to go 3-1. 4-0 would be better, obviously, but we need to go 3-1 in September. If we're going to win 8. Bubba, did you say? And I believe I knew this already. Campbell had the second or third best recruiting class in FCS. I believe I heard that they had some big donor step up and really participate in NIL.
I had not heard that, but it would make sense. And do you guys know who Campbell's quarterback coach is?
Do not.
Pat White, former quarterback
Oh, wow,
from West Virginia.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Does he teach them to run around like a lunatic like he used to?
Pat White didn't do well the last time he was in Greenville, if I recall.
No, he didn't. Well, that was 08, right?
Yeah.
24-3.
It's a little scary. I'll tell you what's scary about that Campbell game to me, because they do have some talent, and we're playing Navy the next week, so Coach Houston has got enough sense to look at what happened at Charleston Southern and probably realize he doesn't need to hold too much back like he did last year. And I don't like playing Navy the week after Campbell. In some ways, I do. If we blow Campbell out, I like it, because then we can rest some guys and get them ready for Navy. But wouldn't be surprised if Campbell hangs around in that game longer than we want him to. I fully expect us to win it easily, but I wouldn't be surprised if they hung around a little longer than we want them to.
All right, well, we got that, and we're going to talk about some baseball. I know Sarah's been patiently waiting, and I'm going to throw this question out to. Well, I'll let Bubba ask the question, and then Kyle, I want to get your reaction first.
Okay.
What question are you?
I have no
idea what you're talking.
Sarah was asking about if we heard anything.
Sorry. As far as Cliff's contract situation, gotcha. Yeah. No, we haven't heard anything as far as the numbers, Sarah. Cliff this year was, obviously when you factor in the different incentives, which he hit a lot.
Yes, we have heard something on this on this, Bubba. We have. The rumor is it's going to be a 7-year deal, Sarah.
But we've heard the 7-year deal, but I'm talking about as far as a dollar amount. We've not heard a dollar amount. No. I wouldn't expect a huge increase. Sarah suggests $1 million.
No, that's not going to happen.
I think no way. I think if you see an increase, I think this year total package, throwing out the incentives on which he hit several, and like I already mentioned, that accumulated probably at least $65,000 to $70,000, if not more. But right around 500,000, a little over 500,000. So yeah, you may see it go up to 6 or something.
Yeah.
650, I don't know, 650. But I think the biggest thing with Cliff, he's made it very apparent, and I'm not saying that he doesn't want a pay raise. Anybody would like a pay raise, but his biggest thing is just the commitment to the program, and that the program, and especially his assistants, or that they're being compensated as fairly as possible.
Yeah, and to elaborate more, maybe Sarah knows this. I don't know Sarah's knowledge of intercollegiate athletics. Baseball is considered non-revenue, even though at East Carolina it does create its own revenue. Well, if it was left up to just it creating its own revenue, it creates more revenue than basketball. The thing about it is, basketball. The reason our basketball coaches always be paid more than our football coach, because basketball creates more revenue by virtue of the conference. You get money from NCAA tournament appearances from conference teams, and you get part of your television revenue is based on basketball. So basketball creates more revenue because of the league, even though baseball creates more revenue on its own. At some point, I think as college baseball continues to grow, right now the media deals, while they include baseball, it's not part of the compensation. It's just kind of giving us exposure playing on ESPN3. I do think as college baseball continues to grow in popularity, you will see the media rights deals, baseball being included in them in terms of compensation. The what we've heard about the contract is 7 years, which I think it'd be more. You heard it first.
Sarah says, "I think it could be more." You heard it first.
Well, okay. Maybe 700,000 is what I'd like to see him at, Sarah.
That's my. Thank you, Cal. That was my benchmark is 700,000. I think that's reasonable, and that would actually help us. that would actually help us with the reason I say 700,000 is Palumbo, Austin Knight, all the coaches there. He wants to add more to them, so I could totally see him.
I could also see him saying, "Hey, don't give me any more. Just give me that extension and a small raise, and give that money to my assistants." So I don't know. I thought this. For years, I was under the impression that in North Carolina, the longest you were able to give a contract for a state university was 5 years. So hearing he's going to get a 7-year deal, at least that's the rumor. There must have been a law change, or either I was incorrect on the law all this time. Bubba, do you know?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Dave, have you heard that? That's just something I dreamt up in my head.
No, 5 is what I've always heard, and that would make sense with that. But and like Sarah says, they're going to make it competitive. He wants to be here. You're right,
well,
Sarah.
He's already the highest paid baseball coach in the American Athletic Conference. Keep that in mind. But we are not an American Athletic Conference baseball program. We are a national baseball program. When you look at the impact our program has had, hell, look at Clemson. Their head coach and their top assistants are Pirates. I'd love to see him get up around 700,000. We'll see. Sarah, do you have some inside information, or
maybe
somebody telling you something, Sarah? Or?
It's in the Loge boxes, so she must.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, she probably does have inside information in the Loge, but we don't have any Loge boxes, Dave. She's in the whatever the hell you call them, the boxes. We don't have Loge boxes.
Now, Sarah, something else to keep in mind, and Robert as well. Robert chimed in saying that as far as most of the top D1 baseball coaches make around 800,000, only a handful make 1 to 1.1 million. Jay Johnson down at LSU, who will be going into his second year. In 2023, it was like I think 1.25 million. And then
wow, and that's at LSU.
And then obviously Tim Corbin, who's had so much success at Vandy, I want to say he's somewhere between 1.1 and 1.2. You have
what does Elliott make over at State, Bubba? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'll see if I can find that right quick. But Mike Martin, who stepped down 3 years ago, retired 3 years ago at Florida State after having been there as long as he had. So I guess what he had been there probably 35 or 40 years, or a long time. And even despite all that longevity and all that success, and this I say only, but he was making 700,000 when he retired.
Wow.
So that shows you how well Cliff is already being compensated, relatively speaking.
Yeah, highest paid coach in the American baseball. There's just people don't take into account that there's no revenue for baseball outside of what you create yourself. There's no TV revenue. There's no NCAA tournament revenue. So.
I love Craig's comment there, Bubba. That's for you because you love the Whistler. That's for you.
They need to pay Vandy more just to put up with the Whistler.
Yeah,
and Mincy from Barstool Sports. I shared that with y'all several weeks ago, and back when the SEC tournament was taking place, he went up and confronted the Whistler. Like I said, the one he confronted was the less annoying of the two, and I had a conversation with the gentleman. There's one they call Preacher Franklin, and he's a very nice gentleman. So
somebody's vibrator's going on.
Fellas, I wanted to mention last night I read a story that the Minnesota Twins pitching coach, who is considered a top 5 pitching coach in MLB, was just hired at LSU to be the pitching coach there for $700,000. He was getting paid $200 by the Twins.
Yeah. Wow, that's shocking.
And made the move to go to LSU for $700. That's incredibly rare, but it just goes to show the money that the SEC is playing around with to pay a pitching coach.
You're telling me that the Minnesota Twins was only paying their pitching coach $200,000 a year?
That's what I read. That is what I read.
That is that is hard to believe. I'm not saying you didn't read it, but that is mind-boggling. Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, when you think about the Twins, I mean, not that they're like the perennial favorite,
Well, it's
but
Major League Baseball, Dave.
but it's Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy to me. Well, hey, I don't blame him. I'd have left too.
That's a big pay increase.
Hey, I don't know what the other topics are, but Matt had some ideas for some off-topic discussions. So Matt, you want to go ahead to your
we have one more. Yeah, I wanted to mention too today.
We're continue baseball.
We do have a baseball topic, and that he actually is moving up. We're talking about Malcolm Gray. Congratulations to him. He's now the assistant AD for media relations, so he's a fellow Pirate. So we want to give him some love. And Malcolm's been around a long time for ECU. He's an ECU grad. He's a Greenville guy, so we're really tickled for him. He works his tail off at ECU behind the scenes. He does a lot for media relations, so we want to, and he's actually the baseball SID.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. That happened today. So we wanted to make sure before we forget to give him some love.
Yeah, Malcolm does a good job. I do want to know sometimes, Malcolm, why do you hate us? But besides that, he does a wonderful job, and congratulations on moving up. Tough shoes to replace Tom McClellan. Tom did a great job, but Malcolm, I'm sure, is up to the task, and a lot more responsibility on him. He's going to, football program has a lot more media requests than the baseball program. So a big step up for Malcolm, and congratulations to him.
Dave, also on the baseball front, as far as some recruiting news, also some summer league updates and minor league updates with those Pirates and the pros.
Burley.
Yeah, Burley's tearing it up. Since you brought up Burley, we'll start there with our minor league updates. Burley's batting .343 as of this afternoon prior to tonight's game. So .343, 15 bombs, 55 RBI, and he's tearing it up in AAA Memphis. And
leads the International League in hits, Bubba.
Thank you. Yeah, not surprising there. And I do not know what that hit total is, but it's impressive the way he's hitting for average and power. And he's on pace to probably hit 30 home runs or so. And we'll see how his season ends up. And it could very well see him moving from AAA Memphis to St. Louis. But from what I gather, I haven't kept up with the Cardinals this year.
They've had some injuries, Bubba.
Okay, and hate that that's the case, but if that is in fact the case, then maybe Burley will be moving up sooner rather than later. Also, Jake Washer has been playing really well for the South Bend Cubs, the Chicago Cubs High A affiliate, hitting .280 with 7 bombs and 20 runs batted in. Gavin Williams recently just got moved up to AA. I believe it's the Akron Rubber Ducks, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Cleveland Guardians AA affiliate. But Gavin, don't let that record fool you. He must not have necessarily gotten the most run support, but in 12 games, he has a 1.66 ERA over 54 and a third innings and has 80 strikeouts. And then you also have Connor Norby. Connor Norby recently got promoted to AA. And speaking of the Norby family, congratulations to the Norby family, because I know Ethan, Connor's younger brother, who's going into his, I think it's senior season there at East Forsyth High School in Kernersville. He is committed to the Pirates, left-handed pitcher, as you see there on the screen for our viewers. And you see for everyone that's listening to this in audio only form, I'll go ahead and read this tweet from Connor. He said, "Let's go. I'm so proud of this kid. Pushed through so many setbacks and worked his tail off to get here. We are a Pirate family." And Ethan earlier in the day had said, "I would like to announce that I've committed to further my athletic and academic career at East Carolina University. I want to thank my family, friends, coaches, and teammates for supporting me and helping me achieve my dreams. Go Pirates." Then in some of the summer leagues, Jacob Jenkins Cowart and also Ryan McChrystal got off to an excellent start with the Burlington Sock Puppets in the Appalachian League. They went 5 for 10 with 4 doubles, 5 RBI in their first game. That was a few days ago, back on the 24th. And then you also
The Sock Puppets is the worst name I've ever heard in my life.
They were
I digress.
they were the Burlington Royals. The Appalachian League used to be a rookie league. Guys first came out ready for A-ball for Major League Baseball, and now the rookie league I think has all been pushed overseas. I think maybe they're all the rookie leagues in like in the Dominican, places like that now, and the Appalachian League has been purchased. It's still owned by Major League Baseball, but it's now a collegiate summer league owned by Major League Baseball.
That's
so it's
correct.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, basically the like.
I don't know where the hell the Sock Puppet name came from though.
Yeah, that's a horrendous name, but I don't mean to interrupt Bubba here, but that's awful. That is awful.
I'll tell you, I know you're running for the mayor of Burlington coming up.
And that is Burlington, North Carolina, not
next
Burlington, Vermont.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I knew that it was the Appalachian League, but I was tough telling Matt.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then also, let's see, no graphic for it for our viewers, but you had Danny Beal and Justin Wilcoxon there with the Ashboro Zookeepers, and Danny pitched very well recently. I think he went 3 innings, shutout ball, allowing just 1 hit, and I think striking out 8 batters, believe it or not, in 3 innings of work. So great outing by Danny Beal, and I know Justin with the Zookeepers hasn't received a ton of at bats just yet, but I'm sure he will be. I don't know if he's been battling an injury, or maybe guys don't always get there right away after a deep postseason run like the Pirates had.
Hey, by the way, we got some more breaking news. Sarah says, Kyle, I may need to have a drink with you this football season. So there you go.
All right, Sarah, sounds good. We will have a drink. You just let me know, and we will have a beer or whatever your drink of preference is.
Hey, Kyle, will you go up to the suite to have the beer with her?
Oh, she's got to come down to me. She's got to sit down there with the peons.
You get it. What about that? Go up there with her.
No, she's got to come and sit with the peons, or we'll meet in the tailgate lot, or something like that. But Sarah, yes, I'll be more than happy to have a drink with you.
And then Dave, very quickly, Craig Doucette chimed in saying that Connor Norby moving up to AA with the Bowie Bay Sox. They're in the Orioles organization, gives him an opportunity
right.
to see Bowie play in Richmond at the end of July.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
Is it pronounced Bowie or Bowie?
It is Bowie.
Bowie.
Most of the time you see that Bowie, it's pronounced Bowie, but in this case it is Bowie.
Yeah, Bowie,
like Beaufort versus Buford.
That's correct.
Like Sam Bowie, who, by the way,
that's right,
was drafted ahead of Michael Jordan.
Wow, I was a
failure.
failure.
The 1984 draft.
Ryan Leaf is my favorite of bad draft picks.
And obviously, guys, a lot of
Marcus Russell.
I got to go Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning. Come on.
A lot of Pirate fans are familiar with Fleming Stadium. Going back several years, but not only for East Carolina, it's regional that was played there back in 2001, but then also the Wilson Tobbs that have played there for years. And Mark Calloway said go to Fleming Stadium in Wilson. And then Sarah chimed in and said that she works for the Tobbs.
There you go. The Tobbs are great, and that is a great stadium, a great fan base. The beer garden in right field. I've actually DJ'd there back in 2008 and 9. Not that really matters, but it was a lot of fun. I used to love that when I was working in Wilson and Rocky Mount. Used to always live there, and it was great. She's usually on the field working the promotions. So,
and then Mark Calloway said, "Hell of a museum." Because Dave, we actually have the that individual on to talk about that. What was it? The North Carolina Baseball Museum, or
It
what
is.
is it?
It's great, and they actually have a lot of cool things in there, and including my great uncle Roger Craig, former baseball manager and pitcher, and pitching coach, and they have a lot of memorabilia in there. You wouldn't believe it because it's Wilson, North Carolina, but they do a great job there. Stadium is well kept. They have great players. It's just one of those things where you would not imagine like the summer league there, but they're in the Coastal Plain League, the CPL, and they get a lot of great talent. And
minor league baseball way back when.
Yeah, there was a lot of minor league teams. Greenville had a team, Rocky Mount, a lot of teams, even Williamston, where I live, had a team around World War II. But way back then, when baseball was really king, like really the sport, there was a lot of minor league players.
Yeah. All right, Matt, go ahead with your topic.
All right, so we always try to bring up something a little different towards the end of the show. Sometimes we talk movies. Tonight, we were trying to figure out if you had one meal, one type of food to eat, your choice, what would it be? So I'll kick it off. How about we'll start with you, Dave?
I'll kick it off with me. One meal.
So are we doing two different questions? Is this your favorite meal or one meal you got to eat the rest of your life?
Well, we can do both. We can do both.
All right.
Yeah.
Do both.
Do both before we get out of here. A sports objective after dark now. Late night. For me, I'm a huge fan of lasagna. So I would say lasagna, some great bread, Parmesan, great salad would probably be what I would. Lasagna is my number one. I'm like Garfield.
That's your favorite meal. All right. What would be the one thing you would eat if you had to eat one thing the rest of your life? You had to eat it 3 times a day, every meal. What would it be?
Oh God, that one's more difficult for me. I would probably say you already said one of my favorite things. I'm a sucker for pizza. It would probably be pizza.
Makes sense. You can get a pizza all the way, and you can take toppings off. You can do different things with it. So yeah, it makes sense.
Pizza's that's one of my vices. I admit, like that one's one that I could easily eat a large pizza. I'm not proud of that, but I could eat it without even flinching.
Makes sense.
All right, Bubba.
Bubba can eat 2 larges.
Bubba's not participating.
No, I'm here. I was on another tab and couldn't get back to StreamYard. But no, if I had to say one meal, I'd go with grilled chicken. Whether it's just some type of marinated grilled chicken and grilled zucchini and squash. And then maybe
favorite meal or what you would eat the rest of your life?
Probably both. But I was talking about favorite meal.
Okay.
So Bubba's going healthy. Bubba's got a little healthy food there, which is good. Good for you. You'll last a lot longer than me.
Craig says boring. Yeah. Yes.
Well, then turn it off, Craig.
Hey,
don't need you.
No, he's talking about Bubba's. No, he's talking about Bubba's meal. He's talking about.
I take it all back, Craig. We love you. Stick around.
Yeah, I was assuming he was talking about my meal, and hey, no, certainly don't think that means by any stretch of the imagination that I don't love Eastern North Carolina barbecue and fried chicken from Parker's and stuff, because I do.
Well, that's why Bubba's lean, mean, chiseled, and jacked.
Yeah, but no. Besides the fact that it is a healthy meal, I do love grilled chicken and zucchini and squash, and he said that was how he meant it. And
I was just playing with you, Craig. You're always welcome to say whatever you want to say and stick around. Bubba, guess what I had for dinner tonight? I had baked chicken breast marinated in garlic and herb marinade and zucchini.
That's a Bubba meal if I've ever heard one.
Yes, and a sweet potato with it. All right, I'll give mine since it was Matt's question. We'll save him for last. The meal I would have every day, and I've often thought about this because to me it's an interesting topic. If you're going to have one meal the rest of your life, you for $10 million, but you can only have, somebody gave you $10 million, but you got to eat the same thing 3 times a day over and over again. I'd go with a brunch burger. The reason I go with a brunch burger, you got your bacon, egg, and cheese on a cheeseburger. So you can take your hamburger patty off, and you can have a bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast. For lunch, you can take it all off and just have a BLT. Just leave the lettuce, tomato, and bacon. And then for dinner, you can eat the whole brunch burger. You can do so many different things with it. So that's what I'd go with if I had to eat one meal the rest of my life. Favorite meal would probably be barbecue ribs with some really good homemade mac and cheese and maybe some street corn on the side, or either really, really good Chinese food. Sesame chicken, pork fried rice, kung pao chicken, egg rolls, but really good quality. So one of those two would be my favorites.
Nice. I like it, Kyle. So you have the most versatile meal of anyone.
Yes.
A little versatility. I like it. So for me, it's chicken parmesan all day long, but it's got to be done a certain way. The chicken can't be too thick. I hate when the chicken is too thick. It's got to be sliced thin, and it's got to be breaded. So the breadcrumb has to be a little crispy, and it's got to have good mozzarella cheese. So if it's done right, it's chicken parm all day long for me. And,
what do you like on the side there? Do you prefer penne, spaghetti? I've seen it served with garlic mash.
I like a little ziti on the side, maybe some garlic bread.
Okay.
I mean, I could definitely live off that every day. No
So
question
that would be your answer for both?
That would, if it's done right, that would be my answer for both.
Okay. I think we've clearly seen Bubba's going to outlive us all.
No question about it. Justin, thank you very much he said, good talk, guys. We didn't plan to go this long, but we appreciate the commentary too, the comments, questions we wanted to do this because we don't do that very often where we don't have a guest. But certainly, and Justin says, glad we could talk about positive things for ECU athletics. Absolutely. Same thing for Sarah said that.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are heading in the right direction. Guys, at some point, a topic I want to discuss, and we need to have an expert on, and we got a new sports card shop, Sarah. We got a new sports card shop opening in Goldsboro, so maybe we'll have them on. But the sports card hobby is at an all-time high since the 90s. Since the 90s. And, I'm into collecting junk wax stuff. It's really not worth a lot, but it's fun for me. But some of these new cards, I've seen a Mike Trout, like somebody pulled a Mike Trout 1 of 1. It's the only one that exists for that specific Mike Trout card. And, they're talking several $1,000s for that card, and it's brand new. I mean, it's crazy what some of these current cards are worth and the scarcity of them, what they're doing with these inserts where they're making, there'll be a card with a piece of a jersey on it, and they've only made 20 of them. I don't know. We need to have somebody on sometime to talk about that and what's going on with the current sports cards collecting market. I find it incredibly interesting, and it's got me reinterested in old junk wax baseball cards. I just spent a few dollars buying some old Bo Jackson rookies, some Nolan Ryan cards, stuff like that honestly hasn't held its value, but I love owning it anyway.
Sounds good. And Justin's saying from Goldsboro as well, Kyle, hell, my address is technically LaGrange myself. Justin Butts, what's up, dude? Ever been to Stonewalls?
I have not. I don't even know what you're referring to with when you say Stonewalls. Is it a bar? Is it a restaurant? What is that? The LaGrange Goldsboro area taking over the Sports Objective. So who knew?
Yeah, I guess I need to move to Connecticut. I guess.
What?
Bring it.
Okay, so even things out.
You can become a UConn football season ticket holder, Dave. They're giving them away. $30. You can get the whole season.
Little local restaurant. Never been there, Justin. Is it downtown? I know there's a lot of local restaurants in downtown Goldsboro, Center Street in that area. Do what?
You said $30 for season tickets.
$30.
I'm trying to respond to Justin here, guys, about restaurants in Goldsboro.
Kyle said he wants one, by the way, so I'll be sending him one.
Hey, their home schedule, Matt, is really good this year. Have you looked at it?
I haven't.
That's serious, by the way.
Yeah, it's a very good home schedule. If I lived up there and I could get a season ticket for $30, I'd definitely buy one. Just to go watch the teams they're playing play. They got I can't remember off the top of my head, They got a couple of ACC schools coming to town. Bubba, how hard is it for you to drag up UConn's schedule real fast before we go?
Or one of us can, yep.
Yeah. Okay. We're all over. You know the viewers are anxiously
I got
waiting.
it, guys. Hold on. Give me one moment.
So Matt's buying season tickets for UConn. This is why because they're $30 a piece. This is why we're about to give their home schedule, which is it's actually pretty solid.
The tickets are on. Hey, if you guys want to come up, the tickets are on me for sure.
I appreciate that. You can probably get them for free on game day.
They'll pay you to go.
They will. They'll literally pay you to go.
All right, Bubba, you got the schedule?
Yeah, I have it up. It's you said the home schedule or just the whole schedule?
Let's do home schedule.
Yeah, you got Utah State, you got Fresno State, you got Syracuse, you have Boston College.
Yeah, that's a solid home schedule.
And that's not all of it, but those are those games that you were referencing as far as ACC opponents, and then also
two of the best programs in the Mountain West.
Very good Mountain West team in Fresno State.
You got the defending Mountain West champion.
And then you also have Utah State and Blake Anderson, and the Aggies, like you said, who won it last year.
Yeah, and I believe was Middle Tennessee one of their other home games?
Perhaps, but
those are the highlights, Matt. So you got 4 really good teams you're going to get to go see play.
No, Kyle, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, Liberty's
the other one. That's another good opponent. But Matt, I hope you go to that Boston College game, wear your East Carolina apparel, and boo the crap out of them.
Yes.
Oh God, I despise Boston College now. I really do.
Yeah.
But I do like what UConn did there by having Syracuse and BC, because you get the Northeast flavor. Not that anybody listening to this show really cares about that, but it does help, as you know, bring in somewhat of a crowd when you can bring in the local team. So
no question.
I'll be cheering against UConn.
Best
except when they play Boston College.
Except when they play Boston College, that's right.
Where is that, Justin, the best barbecue in Wayne County? Wilbur's?
Did he say Wilbur's? No, Stonewall's.
Stonewall's.
Never had it. Wilbur's changed ownership, and it's not as good as it used to be. But never had Stonewall's. Need to try it if they got good barbecue for sure. Never even heard of it.
Never heard of it. Hook Swamp
Road. Justin, my favorite restaurant in Goldsboro, you'll probably be familiar with it. It's China House down by the base off of Ash Street. To me, by far the best Chinese food in the Wayne, Lenoir County area. I've been eating there for years.
Yep. All right. We'll have to Stonewalls it is. We'll have to make a road trip there with Kyle to Goldsboro. And that'll be great. I love barbecue, so no doubt. All right, guys, do you have anything before we go? Appreciate the participation again for all the great listeners and viewers tonight. Appreciate it very much. And we'll be back in the next few days with another show, but certainly looking forward to football. It's not fast enough, but it'll be here sooner or later. Get your tickets, by the way, 1-800-ECU.
Yeah, no doubt. And in addition to that, make sure you're joining the Pirate Club. And those Pirate Club numbers we need to see a significant increase there. We've been down, 3 to 3,200 from where we have been. So we need to get back up, to where we were back in late in the Holtz or early in the Rough era when we were 8,200.
Yeah, desperately, and I think we can. I think some of the people that left ain't going to come back. I think what we need to do is probably concentrate on recruiting some new people to join the Pirate Club.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you, Kyle, Bubba. Bubba, thank you for producing. Matt, man, glad to have you. Obviously, I know you've been working hard recently. Glad to have you with us each and every time. And certainly, Justin, thanks for all the tips for the restaurants in Goldsboro. Until next time, you've been watching and listening to The Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And as always, go Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down in my soul, and I don't back